Hey guys, definitely a crazy day today. And I'm shortly going to be running out the door again. But I wanted to do a review for the Friday fraud law review. And you know how one of you was like, why aren't you talking about criminal behavior on the part of, the SSA or SSA employees? And I did. I think that was last week, maybe. Um, anyway, I thought, how about bad behavior by a lawyer or a former lawyer? Um, those disbarred lawyers and people just not doing what they're supposed to do, even under the best of circumstances. So here is one. Um, and this, it looks like the person was arrested on October 26th. And of course, I'm always getting these from the Office of Inspector General press release page. It's in the Southern District of Ohio. It was a disbarred attorney, kind of young, in his mid-30s. I am going to not use his name. Does that sound wrong? Only because for the fraudulent use of Social Security related things, he has not yet been found guilty. So I don't really want to put that out there. Yes, it's true. He did do other things and was, I guess, convicted, but or maybe just indicted. But in any event, here's what he did. And this is in the Cincinnati area. It looks like back in 2020, the Cincinnati Bar Association filed a complaint against him for some sort of behavior. That looks like it was in November of 2020. 4 or 5 months later, 5 months later or so, 6 months later. So now we're in 21. He apparently indicated his intent to resign from the practice of law. So I suppose that's something he did with his bar, instead of maybe having to deal with a complaint. Maybe it was an alternative, kind of like a settlement, I suppose. So a few months later, and towards the end of 21, he was indicted and charged in Hamilton County with crimes related to stealing client funds. That seems to be like always what it is when an attorney is disbarred. I know it's not the only reason, but it seems to be prevalent. Commingling client funds or outright stealing them. So then I guess, because notwithstanding the fact that he was going to be disbarred potentially, and then he resigned, arguably, from the practice of law, it's still a crime. So your state DA and or county prosecutors would potentially be on that. And that's what happened here. So he was indicted for the stealing of the client's funds in regular court. And then after his indictments, the court for the Southern District of Ohio entered an order disbarring him. Okay, so now he's not a lawyer. And not a licensed lawyer anyway. I don't know if there's another way to look at it. In May of 2022, now jumping ahead, he was arrested in both of his Hamilton County cases, and he was sentenced to probation in both cases in June of 2023. So just a few months ago, he got those sentences down. And that would be those cases, I believe, where he was stealing client funds, which is probably also why they wanted to file a complaint against him. The bar did. Because those are basically two different legal procedures in two different venues, really. So according to the federal charging document that was filed on October 24th, just a couple of weeks ago, and this is while the local cases were pending, I don't know, I mean, go paint houses or something. What are you doing? He created an email account using a person's name that was not his. So it was like John Jones Esquire. I'm just not going to say the other guy's name. You guys can go look it up, because I think he's really an attorney. I just don't want to mix him in with all this. He's probably got enough on his hands. So basically, it sounds like he was trying to kind of steal his identity by using that guy's name in a in an email account. He used the email address, the one that I just described, and the alias of the fellow's name, John Jones, AKA, to communicate with a law firm in DC in June of 2021. And that law firm actually hired him. Ouch. In September of 2022, so just a few months later, when he was disbarred in Ohio and arrested on those local Hamilton County charges for the theft of client monies, he went ahead and used his alias to apply for an attorney position with a Miami, Florida law firm. Apparently, he had met with a recruiter via Zoom and pretended to be this fellow that I'm referring to as John Jones, even though it's actually a different name. He represented himself as that person, as a licensed attorney admitted in both New York and DC. Okay, so the charges now allege that he met with one of the firm's hiring managers in Florida and was ultimately offered employment in October of 2022 with a starting salary of $185,000. That's quite nice, I think. We solo Social Security disability attorneys don't necessarily crack that much per year with a $5,000 signing bonus. He apparently allegedly used a different person's Social Security number, passport number, and banking information to complete his onboarding paperwork to start working at the firm. In April of 2023, that firm received an inquiry from an investigator with, get this, Claremont County Child Support Enforcement Office, making the firm aware of this fellow's true identity, that he was not John Jones, but this other person, and he was subsequently fired. So it's interesting. So that makes you think, okay, so this guy not only stole from his clients and that perpetuated all these problems, he apparently didn't use the money he stole to pay child support because it looks like there was a arrears and they were going after him. Okay, but when they came after him is how the new firm that he was working for under a fake name learned of his identity theft and fired him. In July of 2023, so just a few months ago, he again used the alias to try to obtain another employer. Can't make this stuff up, right? They could make a Lifetime movie out of this, I think. So apparently he interviewed over Zoom with senior management. This is in Coral Gables, Florida. Allegedly, he doctored a screenshot of the name of a name that could be the guy that he originally made the email about, right? In the online DC, and when I say DC, of course, District of Columbia, Washington, DC, bar membership directly and attached it to his resume. The firm went ahead and offered him a starting salary of $195,000 per year with a $10,000 signing bonus, but it was eventually figured that he was using a false identity, and they, in fact, did not end up hiring him. So it looks like they offered, and they probably did their due diligence, which maybe the other firm didn't do that, and determined that there were all these red flags and you know, something was going on. So it looks like he was arrested in Mason. So that must be in Ohio, right? Oh, yeah. On the 26th of October, a couple weeks ago. And presumably he had his initial appearance because it was indicated that he will make it at 1:30 p.m. What's interesting is that the OIG published this literally the day that he was arrested. He was arrested this morning in Mason. That's pretty fast reporting by the OIG on this press release. And of course, I just always like to bring out the fact, well, first of all, you can tell for some of the things I mentioned that there were many agencies involved, state and federal. So that's kind of cool. They're all kind of working together, maybe sharing information. That's always been a problem in the past with all sorts of crimes and in so many different venues, not just this kind of stuff. But they do point out, and I like to point it out as well, A criminal complaint merely contains allegations, and defendants are presumed innocent unless proven guilty in a court of law. And that, of course, is extremely important to point out. He has not been convicted. So anyway, good luck to him. Or if he's guilty, let's hope that is how justice is done. I'm curious about what the sentencing would be. Would it be, a slap on the wrist? I hope not. Would it be prison time, jail time? What do you think? Should it be? What do you think? I kind of think it should be. I know. All right. Because that seems like repeated intentional behavior. All right, guys. That's Friday's law review. I hope you enjoyed. I'll talk to you later. Bye.